Well, I'm back again, and now it's time to assemble some of this stuff. So, whoops, first things first, let's unbag my parts and get organized. So a lot of this is just going to be me scraping little stringies out of various parts. I probably assemble just fine with these minor stringies. But since I'm here, and hopefully this won't take very long, I'm just going to try and cut them out as I see them. See, these two are really nice. This one you can see something weird happened. As long as it's not in the center part where the bearing rides, these go on just like so. It probably won't make a difference. I just want to make sure there's not some big ass bump in here that'll make the cap sit funny. And then also I will prod out anything sitting in the screw holes to make that easier on myself. That's good. Before I forget, let's wake the super slow computer up here, so I will need to look at that in a few. Next up is this guy, or these guys, and these had quite a few more issues with printing. So first things first, this stuff right here is just support. Just sort of push and crack it out just like that. Little zigzags. You probably could leave it there and it'd do no harm whatsoever. I just wanted to sort of clean things up as best I could. Just so that little flakes of stuff aren't popping off of these every time I go and use it and getting God knows where. These guys had apparently were the most difficult to print because they're the most distorted and stringies and wonky and whatever else you want to call it. Sit here and cut some of the big woofties off. The main thing that needs to happen here is the steppers need to fit in, which currently they don't because of the stuff right there. So I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife here and do my best just to cut off the top layer that's sticking down. Perfect. And now it sticks in and the holes line up, so I'm happy. Other thing I need to do is punch out the supports that are in the holes. Should be this guy, and it's just a simple matter of doing that. Now I think these go all the way through. Yep, they do. Want to be a little careful when doing that you don't snap. Want to post up, especially on this side where it's really thin. But just do that number and repeat on the bottom side. Bottoms almost pop out without just by finger pressure. So there we have one all cleaned up and ready to assemble. Do it again for number 2. Boy, this one just... something's not right. Yeah, drastic measures are called for. Oh yeah, that's better. Still looks wonky, but it's good enough. These are all cleaned out. Now we got a bag full of screws and an exploded diagram. Okay, the one thing they don't have on the stepper motor mounts is any sort of washers, which I'm not super excited about. So I'm going to add some washers and some lock washers, especially since I have a whole bunch on hand. These are in not a super good place to get at, so I'd rather take the time and money and put on some 3mm washers and lock washers and really get the stepper motors down solid versus hoping that these screws never work their way out. So I'm going to go lock washer, washer, oops, one stepper motor, and one Phillips screwdriver. I'll have to remember to post a message on the mailing list that this fastener here is listed as an M3x8 and there's none of those in the kit. There is M3 by 10s and by 12s, and neither one of those are on this print. So I'm pretty sure these are the right ones. Now when I'm putting the stepper motors in, I put the two opposite screws in first and give them a gentle tightening down. That's so that the motor gets sort of flat, versus if you put all the screws on one side, it might cock like that, which would be bad. And tighten them about a quarter turn past hand tight or finger tight. It's a little over finger tight, but definitely under hand tight. Again, you don't want to split or break the plastic pieces, and I honestly don't know what kind of force this stuff will put up with. So I'm still getting them tight, but I'm not going super nuts cranking them down. Next bit to go on is the hub. I need an Allen wrench, which would be in this kit. Assuming an English wrench will fit, which may be a bad assumption, but it's all I got for really teeny Allen wrenches. Ooh, that one is close enough. You know what? I take that back. I did buy a set of metric tiny Allen wrenches for another project. What did I do with those? Aha! That looks to be the exact right size. Cool. So when putting the stuffer pulleys on, you want to line up the center of the pulley with this notch, and one of the set screws has to end up on the flat of the motor for best transfer, or for the best chance of it not slipping at some point. And then the side one, you just crank down wherever it lines up. So I cranked her down, checked it centered, and that should be good. Next up, I actually might have wanted to put these on first. These guys. Yeah, it looks like it has to go this way just because there's no space any other way. Now the question is, which way do those little pegs go? I'm going to pre-bend them just a little bit so that I can sneak a connector in from over here, and just like that. To secure them in place, I think I'll end up just using little dabs of hot glue. God, I don't know what the hell I ate, but it's definitely getting the system awake. Okay, that one went in not too bad. That supposedly gets these. By process of elimination. Yeah, those are too short. My only concern is this, if it gets in the way of the belt. And so far, looking good. Yeah, lines up fairly centered. It's not perfect, but it's not horrid either. Something bad happened with the print there. I don't think I'm going to be able to force that in. One thing I could do is heat the PLA up and fix it that way, but I don't think it's worth the effort. So instead, we'll just try and break it. Handy dandy channel lock pliers here. everything lined up. And just give it a nice little squeeze. Remember I said how I don't know how strong this stuff is? Channel lock pliers, way weaker than that. Good news is I didn't completely pooch it, just mostly. So I just busted the top layer on this side off, but this is still solid, so I'm going to leave it be. Mostly because I don't have a choice. First 3D printer, and I need 3D printed parts to fix it, which requires the 3D printer, which, as you just saw, I broke. So this time I'm putting this in first, and not using channel lock pliers on them.